For my Year 12 major work, I created a medium-sized breakfast table. This breakfast table, in simple terms, is just a fancy round dining table in which my family and friends can eat from. The motivation from this project subsided from an unfortunate house fire my mum and I were involved in 2022. This house fire damaged the majority of our crisis possessions, and throughout the rebuild of our house, my mum was the biggest support for me throughout the HSC, and in which I wanted to give back to her. Prior from initially starting the construction of my project, it's all about the preparation. I spent around 2 months in preparing different types of materials, jigs, technologies, and formulating my research into my final design. And when I say formulating my research, I spent the majority of my time sketching. I didn't really want to find ideas from the internet. I kind of wanted to formulate something new and authentic that my mum could share together, in which these sketches started from simple leg designs, simple top designs, to the final project you see now. To justify the selection of my resources, materials, and technologies, I tried to keep a cost-friendly budget throughout my research. I ended up picking American rock maple, which it was an inlay for the parquetry top, and Tasmanian blackwood that was throughout the whole table. Initially, I would have loved to make the table out of walnut, as it would have matched the floorboards in my house, but it wasn't the most cost-effective approach. But this small budget did broaden and shorten my preparation time, which was extremely helpful. Sourcing my materials was extremely easy in my preparation. These 2 timber variants were pretty prominent in my research and my development. However, in creating my processes, specifically my steps of construction, was extremely difficult. I believe woodworking was very foreign to me through Year 11 and Year 12, and to actually research different techniques and different ways to use the tools in creating different types of designs was definitely the most hefty part of my project. Once I actually started my project, I spent around a month in prototyping and testing different leg designs. Specifically, I tried to find different measurements that could try and make an aesthetic look but still try and have some structural integrity, as these legs were very, very hard to create. I think my teacher was very frustrated with me because I tried to make unbelievable measurements to try and make something look pretty cool, but could not hold anything. For different methods of testing, it was majority on CAD, because CAD was very helpful in actually visualizing my design. After that, I CNC'd different shapes of plywood that could ultimately construct the legs, and also 3D printed 2 prototypes. Throughout these early stages of prototyping and testing, I created an ongoing evaluation, which was specifically just jotting down my ideas and my frustrations in my workbook and trying to find and formulate something with my teacher that could finalize a final leg design. This ongoing evaluation was very critical in the final development of my leg, as I could finally sort of finalize what measurement could actually work and what looked the best. Ultimately, it took 2 weeks for this evaluation to actually come out for what I wanted, but I'm extremely happy with it. My teacher's input was very, very helpful. Within producing my folio, I utilised Canva, specifically a landscape A3 format. Regarding the marking criteria, I start off my portfolio with a statement of intent and a little checkbox of different dot points of the marking criteria. Through my ongoing evaluation, I kept on looking back at my statement of intent and ticking down those boxes and looking back at my vision and what I ultimately wanted to create. Through documenting the record of production, I majority did through my ongoing evaluation, and I did include a segment of the different steps and kind of struggles I had in each different lesson. By organising my time through my timeline was the biggest game changer for me. I kind of learned this the hard way in Year 11, as I didn't end up finishing my project because I just didn't organise my time properly. But by effectively using Google Excel and preparing for prior lessons by either swapping around different study periods or afternoon classes, you can achieve quite a bit in this simple preparation. And especially when you're trying to juggle different subjects and different sports, I believe a lot of Year 12 students overlook this crucial step. Even though I didn't make significant changes in the construction of my timeline, I do believe routering my legs was easily the most lengthy and complex part of my project, and I spent the majority of my time doing. In total, 36 lessons of blood, sweat and tears went into just a simple machine to chip away an excess amount of material to try and create a smooth finish. Even though I didn't make many complex changes in my design modifications, I did end up changing the lengths for my legs and my top, as I ended up using too much material in these jigs and preparing. Even though it was very helpful in finalizing my project, I did fall short. However, it did come out the way I wanted to. I could not appreciate the input from my teacher. From starting school earlier just to help me with my designs and my modifications, he was very helpful for me, and I could not thank him enough, as without him, I could have never achieved the look that I wanted. He was very helpful in actually trying to make a structural table and to try and fit the marking criteria and try and achieve the best result as I can. In reflecting the construction of my project, I did have a lot of drawbacks. However, these drawbacks were more of a learning curve and kind of fine-tuning my woodworking skills. It was still incredibly frustrating. Even though I used a total of 126 biscuits in connecting the legs and the tops together, it was still not as structurally sound as I wanted it to be. Specifically, 2 students accidentally bumped the legs together while they were gluing and they cracked, in which I either had to fill the crack with glue and clamp it together and try and sand back the crack away, or I actually had to make a new leg in total. Kind of expanding on this aspect of drawback, I believe routering again was the biggest drawback on my project, as trying to chip away that much material in such a short amount of time and with a timber that's not structurally sound as I want it to be, it did chip a lot. And when I say chip, it would chip too much material, in which I had to make a new leg, or it would just crack the leg in total. However, it did make me learn kind of to appreciate the tools and machinery, as the router bits did get very blunt very quick, and I did not know that, as the tool was still kind of foreign in my woodworking skills. I believe I'm most proud of my commitment. Even though the materialistic aspect of creating a project is still very exciting, to come back from a mistake from the day before and to learn from it and to keep a resilience and to keep on pushing your project is something to be held in such a high regard. And I can't stress this enough on future Year 12 students in any other subject, especially in practical subjects like art, design, technology, and music, to learn from a struggle and to keep some sort of resilience and to come back every day and keep on pursuing what you're doing is something to be very proud of.